Yorushka. We are continuing our track by track listen through to their album Second Person, and this brings us back onto the album tracks with no music videos, and here it's Rubato. Now, don't know anything about this one. It's 3 minutes 50. Interesting. So it's a mid-length song, so I can't even guess it. Or is it probably going to be a very fast song or a very slow song? It's just in that perfect territory where I'm going to have nothing to go on, except for the fact that we've just come out of a little run of songs that had music videos, and in 2 songs' time we'll be back in one which has a music video. So we're kind of in an interesting little midpoint in the album. Actually, we're track 12, but it is a 22-track album. So yeah, we're at an interesting midpoint in the album. I think we'll be in the final levels when we get to like Groan in the second half. What a name, Groan. Looking forward to seeing what that is. But anyway, Rubato. No idea what to expect, but we just came out of The Martian, which was quite an interesting song. Definitely a single, definitely catchy, definitely kind of funky. Let's see where we go with this one. And I guess that's all the preamble I got for this. Let's jump in and find out. Very similar chord pattern to the song we just came out of. Almost identical. That's interesting. Vocals and guitar and drums. Oh, that's a nice build up. Bringing back the brass tambourine. Yeah, this refrain though, I like this, but this reminds me a lot of the song we just came out of. It's weird though, because I love everything I'm hearing. Like the guitar versus the piano, a little bit of trumpet over the That's a nice breakdown again. There's the little piano. Oh, I love this little build up. That walking left hand on the piano there. Love the soulfulness there. Walking jazz bass now. We're doing a lot of interesting things with the left hand and the piano and the bass. I really love that chorus. End with a little bit of a ragtime, honky tonk. Beautiful. Beautiful. This is definitely, I've got to pause it before the next song plays. As always, this is a song that definitely leaves me in a rather interesting spot because I really liked this. In a lot of ways, I would probably have to argue that, I mean, I haven't gone back and done a full re listen yet, but this feels like it's probably going to be one of the songs that I will most revisit from the album just because it's so likable. Yeah, the chorus is great. It's got such a bounce. It's really enjoyable how it incorporates a little bit the I think it's like a hatted trumpet you got in there. You got like the piano and the guitar bouncing along the chorus, as I say, just very very catchy, very full of joy, very quick to move on. And yet there's the other part of me which I have to be honest. I always say this when I do these track by track reactions. I don't just react to the song on its own. I also react to where it sits on the album, how it feels in the flow of the album. And I'm going to be honest with you. Like I say, this is probably going to be one of my suspicion at this point is it's probably going to be one of my favorite songs off of an album I really am enjoying. But I think its positioning in the album is not sorry, but I think it's a bad choice to put it here in the album. It doesn't make any sense for me because the thing is that this album for all of its qualities, one of the things it's not going for is a huge amount of sonic variation. It's clearly got a sound palette that it wants to use in most of the songs. So, that's okay, but we've just come out of, I think, one of the most famous singles from this album with a song that has an incredibly similar structure and even has some phrases and things in the actual writing that are very similar. And putting it right after that, it feels weird because your ears are getting drawn to the similarities. I often talk about songs that work well on the album more than they would in isolation. This feels like the opposite. This feels like a song that definitely works in isolation, but in album context, it feels like it's being scuppered by the song directly in front of it. Because, I mean, I would actually say probably at the moment, I feel like I enjoy Rubato more than Martian. I've just done these two reactions one after the other, so recency bias hopefully isn't a thing there. But I can't deny that obviously, given the fact this has a music video and how popular it is, The Martian is going to be the more popular of the two songs. So putting this right after it, where it's very clear all the similarities are really on show, that feels weird to me. Now, I know I said about a lot of the earlier songs in the album, there was at least a run of like these first three songs here. After the intro, they certainly had a lot of similarities, but these were songs that were kind of setting the mood, and they were very much core-based songs. They're very sort of simple, running throughout. These two to me, they felt way too similar to put them next to each other. And I actually think it's kind of undermines all the things that make Rubato special. Because the minute it comes in, you immediately notice, wow, that sounds all very similar to the song we just came out of. I don't think that's a good idea, if I'm honest with you. But I will say, when it actually just comes to the song, this was so nice and so crisp. Again, it's got a lot of the same things that the last song had. The little backbeat's cool, the fact that it's minimalist in the verse, and then it builds up through a beautiful pre-chorus to the chorus. That's great. I will say this to me hit all of those points slightly better than The Martian. The build up in the bridge was lovely. I love the way sort of like everything went a little bit jazz time, a bit of swing jazz going on there. We get little brushes coming out. The left hand on the piano is walking around and going around and sort of building you up to the chorus. You got the bass doing that. The bass, like little double bass lines doing that at some points. I mean, everything about the way it goes into that cheeky little breakdown before throwing into the chorus is great. Chorus itself might not be as catchy as The Martian, but I actually think probably was a chorus. I said about The Martian, it's like an earworm that I think won't get irritating too quickly. It's an earworm that you can live with for a long time before it starts to get annoying. That's true, but this to me does feel like a more developed chorus. Not quite as immediately catchy, but one that I think if you did repeat listen to this song, I think it would even have more longevity, it'd have more legs, just because the chorus is that little bit longer, that little bit more developed to me. It goes through a little bit more of a journey, the chorus here, rather than just kind of repeating quickly. I liked the little trumpet solo in the bridge, that was super cool. There's so much about this I really like. I think this song's charming. I think it's full of life. I think it's kind of hits a lot of the peaks. And again, I'm not talking so much about the vocals because the vocals are kind of like chilled out and extremely high quality in every song. That it almost feels like there's nothing to say because you could kind of say the same thing for the vocals in all of these songs. They're just really good, really nice, delivered with a sort of genuinely light, personable touch, and yet just that right level of giving it a little bit of singing energy. You know, it's kind of like it's projected in a way where she makes it sound effortless, but at the same time, you can really kind of feel there's a little bit of soul to what she's doing. Makes it sound simple, but actually delivering a lot of class. But I could say that about all the songs. I will say that her voice sounded. This was one of the ones where her vocals, sorry, seemed to really kind of resonate with what was going on in the song the most. Really loved the way she glided over the beat once again. But again, this song just gave her something interesting to work with. I really like this. I really like this song. Martian was great. I slightly prefer this one though, and I do feel a little bit irritated about this being put directly after it. I understand the idea going from one similar song to another might work, but when you've got songs that are quite developed, these aren't like core-based songs that are mostly repeating. These are songs with quite distinct, if traditional, but still quite distinct structures that are too similar to be next to each other on the album. That's my opinion, but this was great. Definitely really enjoyed this. I would definitely come back for more. Really interested to see what you guys think about this. How do you feel it flows on the album? Do you like the fact that it goes from that, or does it feel a bit weird? Does it just kind of remind you of the song you just came out of a bit too much? Let me know what you think. As always, get in the comments. And the next song we're doing is Cremation. So things are about to get dark. But until I see you, either in that song, in the comments, in the Discord, the social medias, the Twitter, whatever it might be, until I see you then, thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, for now, ciao, ciao.